The crystal chamber stretched 300 meters in every direction. Ambassador Marcus Webb stood at the center, alone. Above him, representatives from 47 alien species sat in rings that climbed toward the domed ceiling. Some had tentacles. Others had wings. A few existed as clouds of gas contained in force fields. The air smelled strange, like burning metal mixed with flowers. Marcus kept his hands steady at his sides. The council had made their rules clear. Only one human could enter this chamber. They wanted him to feel small. Looking at the thousands of alien beings surrounding him, Marcus understood their strategy perfectly. A hologram appeared in front of him. Earth hung in the artificial darkness, blue and beautiful. Then the image changed. Human ships fleeing the solar system, colonies on Mars and the moons of Jupiter, all marked with red warning symbols. High Arbiter Kavaloth rose from his seat. His body looked like living crystal, reflecting the amber light of the chamber. When he spoke, 4 voices harmonized together in a sound that made Marcus's teeth ache. The species called humanity stands accused of 17 violations. You expanded beyond your permitted zone. You built colonies without authorization. You refused genetic modification to match our approved patterns. Marcus said nothing. He had been chosen for this moment because the Earth government considered him expendable. The council expected either begging or anger. Marcus planned to give them neither. Most serious of all, Kavaloth continued, you developed weapons that exceed your assigned technology level by 4 full stages. The hologram showed wreckage floating in space. 3 council ships, destroyed 2 months ago when they tried to board a human colony vessel. The humans had defended themselves. The council called it murder. Marcus called it survival. Do you deny these charges? Kavaloth asked. Marcus took a slow breath. Before I answer, I have a question. The chamber erupted in noise. Aliens chittered, growled, and buzzed. Their translation devices struggled to keep up. Kavaloth's crystal body flared brighter. You are not here to ask questions, human. Then you are not here for justice, Marcus replied calmly. You are here for a show? More chaos filled the chamber. Representatives stood, waving appendages and shouting in languages Marcus could not understand. But he noticed something important. Several council members stayed seated, watching him with what might be curiosity. Kavaloth raised one crystal limb. Silence fell like a hammer. You test our patience. I seek to understand it, Marcus said. You accuse us of violating your rules. But who gave you authority over us? We never agreed to your laws. We never signed your treaties. We were simply told to obey. Your species was evaluated when we found you, Kavaloth said. His patience was clearly running thin. Like all new civilizations, you were assessed and given proper limitations for your safety and the safety of others. Assessed by whom? Safe from what? A new voice spoke from the upper rings. The being looked like dark matter held inside a geometric cage of light. From yourselves, your psychological tests showed extreme aggression, territorial behavior, and dangerous capacity for violence. So you put us in a cage, Marcus said softly. We guided you, Kavaloth corrected, as we have guided 7,000 species before you, as we will guide 7,000 more. Marcus let those words hang in the air. Then he smiled. The expression translated poorly across species, but it communicated his meaning. High Arbiter, members of the Council, thank you for your honesty. You have answered a question humanity has asked for 3 generations. He turned slowly, looking at as many aliens as possible. We wanted to know if we were alone in the universe. We are not. We wanted to know if we would find friends among the stars. We have not. We wanted to know if the galaxy valued freedom. He paused. Now we know you do not. The judgment continued for 6 more hours. Marcus presented humanity's case, not as a defense but as simple facts. Humans explored beyond their zone because exploration was their nature. They built colonies because staying in one system meant one disaster could end them. They developed weapons because council ships had proven that being peaceful was not enough. The council's response came like a predetermined script. Kavaloth delivered it with cosmic authority. Humanity must dismantle all colonies outside your home system within 1 cycle. All military ships will be given to us. Earth will remain under watch for 10 more generations until genetic and cultural changes are complete. Marcus listened without interrupting. When Kavaloth finished, The High Arbiter seemed to expect gratitude. You understand this is mercy? Other species in your situation have been reduced to their home planet's surface. Some have been sterilized completely. I understand, Marcus replied, that you have made a mistake. Your defiance is noted, Kavaloth said dismissively. You have one cycle. Use it to save who you can. The chamber emptied. Thousands of aliens left through portals and transport beams, already forgetting humanity's brief drama. Marcus stood in the growing emptiness, the hologram of Earth still rotating above him. The dark matter entity approached from the upper rings. You are going to resist, it said. The voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. Marcus turned to face it. Yes, they will destroy you. The Council has ended species more powerful than yours? Perhaps. Marcus studied the geometric prison holding the entity. But I do not think they have faced anything quite like us. Your weapons are impressive for your age, the entity admitted. But you cannot win. The Council commands resources from 10,000 worlds. Then tell me something, Marcus said. Why did you come down here to warn me? If the outcome is certain, why bother? The entity pulsed with shifting colors. Because in 700 years on this council, I have seen 143 species judged. You are the first to stand in that chamber and smile. I was not smiling because I am brave, Marcus said quietly. I was smiling because I finally understood. Understood what? Marcus looked up at Earth, spinning in manufactured darkness. He saw the orbital platforms, the defense stations, the colony ships that represented 3 generations of human stubbornness. We have been asking the wrong question. We wondered what we did wrong, why the galaxy treated us like prisoners, how we could prove ourselves worthy. But the truth is simpler. The Council does not keep us contained because we are dangerous to them. They keep us contained because we are dangerous to their system. Explain. Every species you have guided accepted your rules. 7,000 civilizations, all following the same patterns, all staying in their zones, all changing themselves to fit your requirements. The Council does not maintain order. It maintains control. And humanity just proved that control can be refused. The entity's prison flickered. That realization will not save you. No, Marcus agreed. But it changes what happens next. You told the Council that humans have a dangerous capacity for violence. You were right. But you missed something more important. What? Marcus picked up his data tablet. The screen showed a message waiting for him, time-stamped from 6 minutes ago. The exact moment Kavaloth delivered the judgment. The message was simple. All colony ships had received the signal. Operation Broken Chain was active. Earth stood with him. We have an even more dangerous capacity for coordinated stubbornness, Marcus said. The Council declared war on humanity. They think they gave us one cycle to surrender. He smiled again, wider. They actually gave us one cycle to prepare. The entity recoiled. You cannot be serious. You cannot fight the entire galaxy. Watch us. Marcus returned to his ship 8 hours later. He spent the time composing a message. Not military orders, not strategic plans. A message to humanity. All of it, he recorded from the command chair. My name is Marcus Webb. 3 days ago, I stood before the Galactic Council as our only representative. Today, I stand before you as something simpler. A human who just learned what we face. He described the chamber, the judgment, the ultimatum. He did not soften the danger or minimize the threat. The Council gave us one cycle to dismantle everything we built beyond Earth, about 400 days. They want our colonies abandoned, our ships surrendered, our people confined. If we refuse, they will use force. He leaned forward. I will not tell you what to do, but I will tell you what I learned. For 3 generations, we asked why the galaxy treats us this way. Today, I understood. We are not different because we are flawed. We are different because we refuse to accept that freedom is negotiable. Marcus stood. The Council has guided 7,000 species before us. Everyone accepted their cage, not because they were weak, because the Council made those cages comfortable enough that resisting seemed pointless. But comfort is not freedom. Safety is not the same as sovereignty. Compliance is not peace. He looked directly into the camera. The Council expects us to surrender or die. They have seen it 143 times before, but they have never encountered humans. We looked at an empty solar system and built cities on Mars. We saw ice moons and made them into farms. We were told to stay home and built colony ships anyway. What comes next will not be easy. It will not be safe. It will cost us. But understand something the Council does not." His expression turned grave. "They think they are containing the most dangerous species in the galaxy. They are wrong. They are not containing us. They are just making sure that when we break free..." The Prometheus floated in space 3 units from Mars. Its hull showed scars from fighting Council enforcers, but its engines burned steady. Inside, 47 colony ship captains filled the main room. Their faces appeared on screens from across the solar system and beyond. Captain Diana Rivera stood at the center. Marcus Webb stood beside her. 400 days, Rivera began. "The Council gave us that much time. They expect us to spend it evacuating and preparing to surrender." She gestured to a display showing human holdings scattered across space. "Instead, we will make them regret giving us any time at all." A captain named Thomas Vance, commanding the Horizon's Edge, leaned forward. Ambassador Webb's message was clear about resistance, but not about strategy. "The Council commands resources from 10,000 worlds. We barely control one system." "Which is why we are not fighting the way they expect," Marcus replied. He showed a new display. Council territorial maps that humans had carefully acquired over decades. "The Council maintains order through infrastructure. Jump gates at strategic points, enforcement stations in every sector, communication relays connecting their worlds. That infrastructure is their strength. And their weakness," Rivera added. "They have spent 10,000 years building a galaxy where everyone follows rules. They optimized for compliance, not conflict." Marcus highlighted specific points on the map. "These are bottlenecks. Jump gates serving as major transit hubs. The Council uses them to move enforcement fleets between sectors. Without them, their response time goes from days to months." "You want us to attack Council infrastructure?" said Captain Lisa Nakamura from the New Dawn. "That is not defensive resistance. That is war." "Yes," Marcus said simply. "Because defensive resistance means waiting for them to come with overwhelming force. Offensive warfare means making them defend everything while we defend nothing." The captains exchanged looks. This was the line. The moment where humanity stopped being victims and became aggressors. "I will not lie," Rivera said. "Once we start, there is no going back. The Council will see us as a threat to their existence. They will not stop until we are destroyed, or they are." "They already see us that way," Vance said quietly. "The judgment made that clear. The only question is whether we accept their timeline for our extinction or write our own." "Show us the plan," Nakamura said. For 3 generations, humanity had built in secret, not just weapons and ships, though those existed in greater numbers than the Council suspected. Something more dangerous: connections. Marcus showed a new display. An intricate web of human intelligence operations. Resistance cells on Council worlds. Sympathetic aliens tired of absolute authority. "We are not alone," he said. The entity that spoke to me in the judgment chamber was not unique. Among 7,000 species, there are millions who see the Council's control for what it is. They will not fight with us yet, but they will provide intelligence, sabotage key systems, create internal chaos. "You describe a conspiracy spanning the galaxy," Vance said. No accusation in his tone, only growing understanding. "Yes. Humans started building it the moment we realized the Council would never let us be free." Marcus showed personnel files. Hundreds of humans scattered across Council space, working as technicians, traders, researchers. Every diplomatic mission that failed, every trade negotiation rejected, every cultural exchange canceled. We used them all to plant seeds, questions, doubts, alternative views. Rivera took over. 3 days ago, those seeds were theoretical. Tomorrow, they become active resistance cells. We are sending activation codes to 47 different species. Not all will respond, but enough will. "What exactly will they do?" Nakamura asked. "Create chaos," Marcus said. "Jump gate malfunctions. Communication blackouts. Supply chain disruptions. Nothing catastrophic. We are not mass murderers, but enough to make Council infrastructure unreliable. Enough to make them question if their control is as absolute as they believed." He showed more files. Hundreds of humans across Council space who had spent years learning systems, finding weaknesses, identifying which species were loyal and which just pretended. These people spent years pretending to be harmless. Tomorrow they stopped pretending. "This is bigger than I thought," Vance said slowly. "You are not planning to defeat the Council militarily. You are planning to dismantle their entire system." "We cannot win a straight fight," Rivera agreed. "But we can make controlling us cost more than the Council will pay. Every jump gate they must guard. Every relay they must repair. Every member species that starts asking why humans must be destroyed. It all adds up. To what?" Nakamura asked. Marcus showed one final image. Earth, beautiful in blue, surrounded by orbital defenses that official assessments never detected. To the galaxy learning what happens when you cage an intelligent species and give them 400 days to prepare. On Mars, Admiral James Kurosawa walked through Olympus Shipyard, a facility that officially did not exist. Carved 3 kilometers below the surface, it stretched over 20 square kilometers. A cathedral of steel and purpose, filled with warships. "Status report," he said to Facility Commander Patricia Okoro. 63 vessels combat ready, Okoro replied, showing displays of sleek, predatory ships. Another 41 in final assembly. "If we push crews to 20-hour shifts, we can have 120 operational before the deadline." Kurosawa walked along a platform overlooking the main bay. Below, thousands of workers swarmed over a vessel twice the size of anything humanity had publicly built. A battlecruiser armed with Weapons Council assessments called impossible for humanity's technology level. "The new drive systems?" he asked. "Functional," Okoro said with pride. "We bypassed the Council jump gate network completely. Our ships can create temporary passages without their infrastructure. Range is limited, about 15 light years per jump, but it means we can move without them tracking us. This was humanity's greatest secret. The Council controlled faster-than-light travel through an ancient network of jump gates, portals that bent space and allowed instant travel between fixed points. Every species relied on these gates. The Council monitored every transit, knew exactly where every ship traveled, except now humanity had found another way. "Independent FTL," Kurosawa said quietly. "If the Council learns we have this before we are ready—" "They will not," Okoro assured him. "Every test was conducted in the outer system, beyond their sensors. We seeded their intelligence networks with false information, suggesting we still depend on gate travel." Kurosawa nodded, moving to another platform overlooking the weapons range. Below, technicians mounted a device that looked like something from a nightmare. The Hammer protocol weapons? 30 units complete. Another 70 in production. Okoro's expression turned serious. "Admiral, these ships and weapons are not defensive. We are building a fleet designed for aggressive warfare, deep strikes, infrastructure destruction, hit-and-run tactics against superior forces. This is not what Earth's government approved." "No," Kurosawa agreed. "It is what Earth's people are about to need." He showed her a message from Marcus Webb. The judgment. The ultimatum. The 400 days. "Commander Okoro, for 3 generations we built this facility in secret. We told ourselves it was for defense, for contingency, for worst case." He gestured at the ships, the weapons, the thousands of personnel. "Worst case just became reality." Okoro was quiet for a moment. "Orders, sir?" "Accelerate production. Recruit every qualified person in the system. Pull resources from civilian projects if necessary." He looked at the battle cruiser below, at humanity's refusal to surrender made real in steel. "The Council gave us 400 days to dismantle our colonies and submit. We will use those days to build something they have never seen, which is a military capable of fighting across every sector simultaneously." On Europa, Jupiter's ice moon, Colonel Maya Torres descended through the access shaft. The elevator opened onto a vast chamber 3 kilometers beneath the ice. 5,000 human soldiers conducted live fire exercises. "Give me the numbers," she said to Major David Park. 15,000 combat personnel in training, Park replied. "Another 30,000 in screening. Problem is, we need at least 100,000 for the operation scale Marcus Webb is proposing." Torres watched a squad execute a boarding action against a mock-up Council vessel. Their movements were precise, efficient, practiced. These were not civilians playing soldier. They were specialists who trained their entire adult lives for a theoretical war until now. "We will get the numbers," Torres said. "Once Webb's message circulates, we will have volunteers from every colony, every ship, every habitat. Volunteers are not trained soldiers? No. But they are humans who decided the Council's walls are not strong enough." She showed a training schedule compressed into something brutal. "We have 400 days to turn engineers and miners and scientists into a force capable of asymmetric warfare against the galaxy's most powerful organization. It will not be pretty. It will be suicide," Park said bluntly. "Even with surprise, even with superior technology, we are outnumbered beyond calculation. 10,000 worlds, billions of soldiers, fleets numbering tens of thousands." Torres turned to face him. "You are right. It is suicide if we fight their war. Stand in formation, hold territory, accept battle on their terms." Day 387 of the Council's deadline. The jump gate at Sector 7-9 hung in space like a monument to galactic order. A ring of exotic matter 6 kilometers across, its surface covered in Council symbols promising safe passage and regulated travel. Thousands of ships passed through daily, massive cargo haulers, Council enforcement vessels, a critical node connecting 17 star systems. Humanity destroyed it in 90 seconds. 3 human vessels appeared from nowhere, not through the jump gate, but via independent FTL drives. They unleashed weapons called Hammer Protocol, focused particle beams that did not just damage the gate, but destabilize the exotic matter itself. The gate collapsed into a brief, violent singularity before disappearing. By the time Council sensors registered the attack, the human ships were gone. Jumped to coordinates 15 light-years away. Total time from arrival to departure, 90 seconds. But Sector 7-9 was not alone. Across Council space, in 12 different sectors, human strike teams emerged from darkness. Always small forces, always hitting critical infrastructure, always gone before response forces could scramble. Jump gates, communication relays, supply depots, military outposts. Nothing massive, nothing causing civilian casualties, but everything designed to make Council infrastructure suddenly, terrifyingly unreliable. Admiral Kurosawa watched the tactical display from Earth's military command center, a facility buried 3 kilometers beneath the Mojave Desert. Around him, 50 officers monitored feeds from across human space and beyond. "Status on Strike Force Gamma?" he asked. "Successful hit on communication hub at Telax Secondary," his tactical officer replied. 4 relays destroyed. Council response time was 6 minutes. "We were gone in 2. No casualties. Strike Force Epsilon. Supply depot at Kryn Junction confirmed destroyed. Estimated 6 months of military provisions lost. Council reinforcements arrived 9 minutes after we jumped out." Kurosawa allowed himself a brief smile. 9 minutes. The Council was designed to respond within 3 minutes to any crisis. But 3 minutes only worked if ships could use jump gates. Without those gates, or with gates under attack, response times stretched from minutes to hours or even days. "Damage assessment from Council perspective?" he asked. Commander Lisa Yamamoto pulled up intercepts from Council communications. "They call it coordinated terrorist attacks by human extremists. Casualty count is minimal. 7 Council personnel killed, all military. But infrastructure damage is significant. Sector 7-9's gate was a major hub. Its destruction created a bottleneck affecting traffic to 43 systems. Political response?" Yamamoto's expression darkened. High Arbiter Kfaloth issued an emergency declaration. "All human vessels detained on site. Any human personnel on Council worlds are being arrested. He is accelerating the enforcement timeline, meaning we now have 213 days before the Council Armada reaches Earth. They cut our deadline nearly in half." The war room went quiet. Officers exchanged glances. 213 days instead of 387. The Council was escalating faster than projected. "Good," Kurosawa said. Everyone stared at him. "Sir?" Yamamoto asked carefully. "We wanted them frightened, uncertain. We wanted them to realize their infrastructure is not as safe as they believed." Kurosawa gestured at the display showing 12 successful strikes. "Mission accomplished. Now Phase 2, which is?" making them understand that every response they make will cost more than they can afford. High Arbiter Kavaloth stood before assembled council members. His crystalline face reflected emergency lighting bathing the judgment chamber in amber urgency. An emergency session called with 6 hours' notice. The human attacks must be addressed immediately, Kavaloth declared. These are not actions of a species preparing to surrender. These are actions of a species declaring war. A council member from the Vex Dominion, resembling a floating jellyfish in a containment suit, pulsed with concern. War is too strong. These were terrorist strikes. Hit-and-run attacks by extremists. Extremists with military-grade vessels, Kavaloth countered. Extremists with weapons our assessments said they could not possess. Extremists who somehow bypass our jump gate network entirely. That last point caused alarm through the chamber. Jump gates were the Council's control mechanism. Every species depended on them. If humanity found a way to travel independently, how is that possible? Demanded a Kryn Assembly representative. Independent FTL requires technology that took our species 6,000 years to develop. Humans barely achieved interplanetary flight. Apparently, we underestimated them, Kavaloth said bitterly. The dark matter entity that spoke to Marcus Webb during judgment floated down from upper rings. I warned you. I told you humans were different. Your warnings were noted, Kavaloth said dismissively. What matters now is response. I recommend immediate military action. We accelerate the enforcement timeline and move the full armada to human space within 200 days. You mean to destroy them entirely, the entity said. I mean to remind the galaxy what happens when species defy the Council, a new voice interrupted. Bold, resonant, coming from the highest ring where the eldest species sat. A being called the Overseer. From a civilization so ancient, no one remembered its original name. High Arbiter, the Overseer said slowly. I have sat on this council for 1,200 years. I witnessed judgment of 407 species. I have seen rebellion, defiance, resistance in every form. But I have never seen what humans are doing. They are attacking us, Kavaloth said. No, they are dismantling us. The Overseer showed data displaying cascading effects of the 12 strikes. Sector 79's gate serviced 17 systems. Its destruction disrupted trade routes affecting 200 worlds. The communication hub at Talax Secondary connected 43 species networks. Its loss created coordination problems across 8 sectors. The supply depot at Kryn Junction supported enforcement fleet operations in the entire outer rim. The Overseer let data sink in. Each attack was small. Each caused minimal casualties. But together, they created chaos that will take months to resolve. And humans accomplish this in 90 seconds per target. So we respond with overwhelming force, Kavaloth insisted. And they respond by hitting 12 more targets. Then 24. Then 50. The Overseer's ancient voice carried weight that silenced the chamber. High Arbiter, humans are not fighting to win conventional war. They fight to make controlling them cost more than we will pay. Then we increase what we will pay, Kavaloth said. Can you? The entity asked. Can the Council truly afford to garrison every jump gate? Protect every relay? Defend every outpost? We have 10,000 member worlds, infrastructure spanning 60,000 light years. If humanity can strike anywhere, anytime, without warning, how many resources will you commit to hunting them? The question hung in the air. Finally, Kavaloth spoke. Then what do you propose? Nothing, the Overseer said. I propose we observe. We gave humans 213 days. Let us see what they do with that time. If they continue strikes, we learn about their capabilities. If they escalate, we prepare. But if we rush to crush them now, we may create precedent other species will follow. Other species do not have independent FTL, Kavaloth argued. They did not, the entity corrected. But if humans developed it, others can learn it. Do you want to spend the next 1,000 years fighting species who decided council control is negotiable? The chamber erupted into debate. Some demanded immediate action. Others counseled patience. A few, very few, suggested perhaps humanity's refusal was not the threat assumed. Kavaloth let them argue. He had already decided. Humanity would burn. What the council did not realize was that 12 strikes were just beginning. On 47 different worlds, human intelligence assets began activating contingency plans. Not attacks, not violence, just careful, coordinated sabotage. On Talax Prime, a maintenance worker altered code in jump gate control systems. Nothing obvious, just small modifications causing random malfunctions every few days. The gate would still function, but be unreliable. On Vex Station, a human researcher working on Council communication protocols introduced a virus corrupting data packets at unpredictable intervals. Communications would work but require constant verification and correction. On Kryn Outpost, a supply clerk modified inventory systems to show materials in wrong locations. Shipments would arrive but could not be found. Requisitions filled incorrectly. Nothing catastrophic. Just constant, frustrating inefficiency. Across the galaxy, similar acts of subtle sabotage multiplied. Humans working in Council facilities for years suddenly revealed themselves as something more than harmless immigrants. They became ghosts in machines, undermining systems from within while leaving no obvious evidence. But humans were not working alone. On 17 different worlds, non-human species began their own resistance acts, some inspired by humanity's example, others settling old grudges against the Council, a few simply opportunistic, seeing chance to profit from chaos. A Kryn shipping guild began deliberately misrouting Council military cargo, citing system errors. A Vex research team published technical specifications for independent FTL drives, claiming academic curiosity, not collaboration with humanity. Day 289 of the Council's deadline. The Council Armada assembled at Nexus Prime, the military stronghold at the heart of Council space. 1,000 warships, drawn from 12 different species, representing the largest military force mobilized in 300 years. Destroyers, battlecruisers, carriers, siege vessels. A fleet designed to crack worlds and end rebellious civilizations. Fleet Commander Thalin watched the assembly from his flagship bridge, the Eternal Dominion. He was Vex, his species having served the Council for 8,000 years. He had led campaigns against 7 different rebellious species. All 7 were now extinct or fully pacified. Status report, he commanded. His translated voice echoed through the bridge. All vessels reporting ready, his tactical officer responded. Supply lines established. Intelligence networks tracking human activity in 43 sectors. We can commence operations within 2 standard cycles. The target? Earth remains primary objective. Command estimates the human homeworld's defenses at 300 vessels, orbital platforms, and ground-based weapons. We have sufficient force to overwhelm their defenses within 6 hours. Thalen studied the tactical display showing Earth's system, a single yellow star with 8 planets, the third harboring 16 billion humans. It looked vulnerable, isolated. Easy, he did not believe it. Show me the human attacks again, he ordered. The display shifted, showing humanity's strike pattern over 98 days. 12 initial attacks, then 37 more, then 74. Each hitting critical infrastructure, each executed in under 2 minutes, each demonstrating technology and tactics a confined species should not possess. They are accelerating, Thalen observed. First wave was 12 targets. Second wave triple that. Third wave double the second. If the pattern continues, the fourth wave will hit over 140 targets simultaneously, his tactical officer finished. But that is impossible. They do not have vessels or personnel for coordinated strikes on that scale. They should not have independent FTL either, Thalen said. Yet here we are. He pulled up intelligence reports on human capabilities. Official Council assessment classified humanity as Tier 3, basic interplanetary capability, no significant military power confined to single system. But actual evidence painted different picture. Independent FTL drives bypassing jump gates entirely. Weapons technology matching or exceeding Council arsenals. Strike teams operating with precision suggesting extensive training. And most concerning, an apparent strategy not trying to win conventional war, but make galaxy ungovernable. Commander, his intelligence officer said, we intercepted human communications. They are not encrypted. They want us to see them. Show me. A holographic recording appeared. A human woman, young, standing in what looked like military command center. Behind her, other humans worked at stations displaying tactical data. "My name is Commander Sarah Takahashi," the woman said in flawless council standard. "I broadcast from human vessel Relentless, currently operating in Sector 12. Fleet Commander Thalen, we know you assemble an armada at Nexus Prime. We know you plan to attack Earth. We want you to understand what you walk into." The image shifted to star map with red indicators marking human strikes. In the past 98 days, we conducted 123 attacks on Council infrastructure. Jump gates, communication relays, supply depots, military outposts. We caused estimated 9 trillion credits in damage. We disrupted trade routes affecting 600 worlds. And we did all this with fewer than 100 vessels. Takahashi's expression was calm. "Almost friendly. Now you bring 1,000 ships to destroy Earth. You think overwhelming force will end human resistance. You are wrong. If you attack Earth, you will not find desperate species begging for mercy. You will find 16 billion people who spent 400 days preparing for your arrival. And while you besiege our homeworld, the rest of humanity will be dismantling your entire empire." The recording zoomed in on Takahashi's face. "Every jump gate you leave unguarded will be destroyed. Every communication relay corrupted. Every supply line cut. You will win the battle for Earth, maybe. But you will lose control of the galaxy in the process. Ask yourself, Commander, is one species' defiance worth collapsing the entire system you protect?" The recording ended. Thalen's bridge crew waited for his response. The message was clear. Humanity was trying to make him reconsider, trying to make the cost seem too high. "Analysis?" he asked his officers. "It is a bluff," his tactical officer said immediately. "They do not have resources for simultaneous strikes across the galaxy while defending Earth. It is psychological warfare, nothing more." "But if it is not a bluff?" his intelligence officer countered. "If they have been hiding true strength, if they have more vessels and personnel than we detected." "Then we will adapt," Thalen said firmly. "Prepare the fleet for departure. We move on Earth in 48 hours. What Fleet Commander Thalen did not know was that Commander Sarah Takahashi's message was not a bluff. It was a warning, because humanity made a decision that would define their species forever. If the Council was coming to destroy Earth, then Earth would make sure humanity survives somewhere else. Admiral Kurosawa stood in Olympus shipyard, watching final vessels prepare for departure. Not warships this time. Transports, massive colony vessels carrying everything needed to establish self-sufficient settlements on 47 different worlds. "Evacuation status?" he asked Commander Okoro. 8 million people already departed Earth, she replied. Another 12 million scheduled for transfer in next 30 days. Priority given to children, scientists, engineers. People who can rebuild if Earth falls. 20 million, Kurosawa said quietly. Out of 16 billion. It is all we can move in the time frame, sir. Colony ships can only carry so many, and we need most transport capacity for military operations. Kurosawa nodded. 20 million, a fraction of Earth's population, but enough to ensure humanity survived even if their homeworld burned. And the rest? They prepare to fight, Okoro said. Orbital platforms fully armed. Ground-based defense networks operational. We converted civilian factories to produce weapons and ammunition. Every major city has evacuation shelters that can withstand orbital bombardment. It will not be enough. No, sir. If the Council commits their full armada, Earth's defenses will hold for maybe 3 days. A week at most. And our fleet? 217 vessels combat-ready. Against the Council's 1,000. Okoro met his eyes. Admiral, we cannot win a direct engagement. No, Kurosawa agreed. But we can make them pay for every inch. And while they focus on Earth, the rest of humanity will make sure the price keeps rising. He showed the strategic map displaying human operations across the galaxy. Not just military strikes anymore. The 47 colony ships were establishing settlements in systems the Council deemed worthless. Each settlement becoming manufacturing hub, training facility, base of operations. Humanity was not trying to hold territory. They were trying to exist in too many places for the Council to eliminate. How many colonies established? Kurosawa asked. 32 confirmed, 15 more in final stages. Each one self-sufficient for food, water, basic manufacturing. We distributed our technical knowledge across all of them. If any single colony survives, they can rebuild humanity's technological base. And the Council knows about them? Some, maybe 10 or 15. But they would need to search every system in the galaxy to find them all. And every day they spend searching is a day we establish more colonies, build more ships, recruit more resistance. Kurosawa allowed himself a grim smile. We turned their deadline into an expansion timeline. Yes, sir. The Council gave us 400 days to dismantle our civilization. We used those days to spread across the galaxy like a virus they cannot contain. On 43 different Council worlds, resistance networks humanity had been building for 3 generations activated their final phase. Priya Desai stood in a hidden facility beneath Talax Prime's capital city, surrounded by 12 non-human scientists who agreed to work with humanity. They examined technical specifications for independent FTL drive, their various sensory organs processing information with growing excitement. "This is revolutionary," one Kryn researcher said, his 3-fingered hands tracing holographic schematics. The Council suppressed research into alternative FTL methods for millennia. They claimed it was impossible. "It is not impossible," Priya replied. "Just inconvenient for them. If every species can travel independently, the Council loses their primary control mechanism." "You share this with us," a Vex researcher observed. "Why? You could keep this technology secret, maintain your advantage." "Because humanity learned something important," Priya said. "We cannot defeat the Council alone, but if we inspire other species to question their authority, if we give you tools to be independent, then maybe the galaxy becomes something better than what the Council created." "The Council will execute us for treason if they discover this collaboration," the Kryn said. "Yes," Priya agreed, "but they will execute us anyway. Might as well be for something that changes the galaxy." The researchers exchanged glances. They risked everything. Their careers, their lives, their species standing with the Council. But they were scientists. Day 261 of the Council's deadline. The Council Armada dropped out of jump space at the edge of Earth's solar system. 1,000 warships appearing in perfect formation, their combined mass equivalent to a small moon. Fleet Commander Thalen watched tactical displays light up with contact signatures. "Initial scan complete," his tactical officer reported, detecting 243 human vessels in defensive positions. Orbital platforms numbering in the hundreds. Ground-based weapon systems across multiple continents. The humans have fortified their homeworld extensively. "Still outnumbered 4-1, Thalen observed. "Begin standard intimidation protocol. Full sensor sweep. Let them see exactly what they face." The Armada's sensors washed over Earth's defenses, active scanning designed to overwhelm and terrify. Every ship, every platform, every weapon, all measured and cataloged and broadcast to the humans. "You cannot win." The response came 30 seconds later. "Incoming transmission from Earth," his communications officer said. "It is Admiral Kurosawa. Put him through." A human appeared on the view screen. Older, gray-haired, wearing military uniform that reminded Thalen uncomfortably of Council standard designs. The human's expression was calm. "Fleet Commander Thalen, I am Admiral James Kurosawa of the Earth Defense Forces. Welcome to our solar system." "Admiral," Thalen replied formally, "I am here under Council authority to enforce compliance with sovereignty protocols. Your species has been given multiple opportunities to submit peacefully. You have chosen defiance." "We have chosen freedom," Kurosawa corrected. "There is a difference. The distinction is irrelevant. You have 6 hours to surrender all military vessels and deactivate your defensive systems. If you comply, civilian casualties will be minimized. If you resist, the Council has authorized complete pacification of your homeworld." Kurosawa's expression did not change. "Fleet Commander, before you begin your attack, I want to make sure you understand something." "What?" "You are not here to destroy humanity. You are here to teach the galaxy a lesson. You want every species to see what happens when someone defies Council authority. You want our destruction to be so absolute, so devastating, that no one ever considers resistance again." "That is correct," Thalen said. "Then you should know we are about to teach a very different lesson." Kurosawa gestured, and the transmission expanded to include tactical data, star maps, coordinates, timestamps. In the past 30 minutes, while your armada was in transit to our system, humanity conducted 317 simultaneous attacks across Council space. Every jump gate in the primary network, every major communication hub, every military staging area not currently in this solar system. Thalen felt something cold settle in his chest. 317 simultaneous attacks. That was impossible. Humans did not have that many ships, did not have that many personnel. You are bluffing, he said. Am I? Kurosawa showed real-time footage. Jump gates collapsing, communication relays exploding, supply depots burning, and in every case, the attack signature was the same. Human vessels using independent FTL to appear from nowhere, strike, and disappear before response forces could mobilize. While you have been bringing your armada to Earth, Kurosawa continued, we have been positioning assets across the entire galaxy, not to fight your forces. We cannot win that battle, but to dismantle your infrastructure, everything the Council uses to maintain control. It is all burning right now. We can rebuild, Thalen said, but his confidence was wavering. With what resources? We hit your supply networks. With what communication? We destroyed your relay stations. With what coordination? Your jump gate network is currently experiencing cascading failures that will take months to repair. Kurosawa leaned forward. You came here to destroy one world. We just made your entire empire ungovernable. Ask yourself, Fleet Commander, is this lesson really the one the Council wants to teach? For 6 hours, representatives from across the galaxy debated, argued, questioned. The conversation was not just about humanity anymore. It had become about the fundamental structure of galactic civilization. Council defenders argued that without central authority, chaos was inevitable. That sovereignty protocols existed to prevent wars. That limitations on younger species protected them from self-destruction. Questioners argued that protection and imprisonment were not the same thing. That species had right to take risks. That Council control had prevented conflict, but also prevented growth. And through it all, humanity's presence served as living proof that defying the Council was possible. Finally, the Overseer spoke. The ancient being's voice carried weight that silenced all other debate. I have lived for 11,000 years, the Overseer said. I have seen civilizations rise and fall. I witnessed the Council's formation and its evolution into galaxy's primary authority, and I always believed our purpose was just. That we maintained order not for our own benefit, but for galaxy's welfare. But humanity forced me to confront a question I spent 11 millennia avoiding. What if our order is just another form of tyranny? The Overseer's presence seemed to fill every screen, every communication channel. The Council was created after the Great Wars, a period when unchecked expansion and competing empires nearly destroyed advanced civilization. We imposed sovereignty protocols to prevent another catastrophe. We restricted exploration to prevent conflict. We confined younger species to protect them and the galaxy from their inexperience. And for 10,000 years, it worked. The galaxy has been stable, peaceful, ordered. But the price of that peace has been freedom of 7,000 civilizations. Species that could have become something magnificent if they had been allowed to grow without restraint. Cultures that might have contributed revolutionary. Ideas if they had not been forced to conform to our templates. The Overseer paused. Humanity committed no crime except refusing to accept limitations they never agreed to follow. They violated protocols they never signed. They defied an authority they never recognized. And they did all this while demonstrating remarkable restraint. Their attacks targeted infrastructure, not civilians. Their expansion sought unclaimed worlds, not conquered ones. Even their resistance has been defensive. They have not tried to destroy the Council merely to free themselves from it. High Arbiter Kavaloth, the Overseer said, addressing Council leader directly. I am 11,000 years old. I have seen everything the galaxy has to offer. And I tell you now that if we destroy humanity for refusing to submit, we will prove that our authority is based on force, not legitimacy. We will teach the galaxy that Council peace is purchased through threat of extinction. And we will inspire every confined species to see us not as guardians but as oppressors. The Overseer's presence seemed to expand. It is time for the Council to evolve, to recognize that perhaps humanity's defiance is not threat to order, but opportunity for better order. Order based on cooperation rather than control. I propose a new framework. We lift humanity's quarantine. We allow them to explore and expand, but with agreements preventing aggressive expansion into other species' territories. We study their independent FTL technology and consider making it available to other species. And we acknowledge that sovereignty protocols, while well-intentioned, may need revision. This is madness, Kavaloth protested. You suggest we abandon 10,000 years of precedent because one species threw a tantrum. I suggest, the Overseer replied, that we acknowledge when our systems have failed. Humanity proved that confinement does not work for species determined to be free. Rather than destroy them for that determination, perhaps we should learn from it. The debate continued, but momentum had shifted. Representatives from moderate factions began supporting the Overseer's proposal. Even some of Kavaloth's traditional allies were wavering. Finally, a vote was called. Formal revision of sovereignty protocols. Recognition of humanity's right to independent expansion. Establishment of new framework for galactic governance that balanced order with freedom. The vote passed by 63%. Not unanimous. Not even overwhelming, but enough. Fleet Commander Thalen received Council final orders. Stand down! Withdraw the Armada. Begin negotiations with human representatives for formal treaties establishing humanity's place in galactic community. Admiral, I received orders to withdraw. Humanity's quarantine is officially lifted. You are free to explore and expand, subject to agreements we will need to negotiate regarding territorial boundaries and rules of engagement. Kurosawa's expression was carefully neutral. And the attacks on Earth? The threat of destruction? Rescinded. The Council decided that a diplomatic solution serves everyone's interests better than military action. Because we made war too costly, Kurosawa said. Yes, Thalen admitted. Because you proved that some species cannot be contained. And because you forced the galaxy to question whether containment was ever the right approach. He paused. Admiral, I want you to understand something. The Council is not surrendering. We are adapting. There will still be rules. Still be protocols. Still be consequences for aggressive expansion or violations of agreed boundaries. But, Kurosawa prompted, but you changed the fundamental equation. For 10,000 years, Council authority was absolute because no one successfully challenged it. You challenged it and survived. That changes everything.